let's also talk about, net zero. Coots banking. Let's talk about Coots banking.
Yes.
So we were talking about, with Carol Roth there, about how a central digital banking currency, and we'll be talking to Ralph Babette about this in a minute, is the absolute thing we must all oppose. Any kind of digital currency means control, means lack of freedom. Cash equals freedom, digital currency equals tyranny. That's the reality. We saw, James, from the Coots saga with Nigel Farage, how a woke bank will just, bang, switch you off like that.
Yeah, well, it's not just Nigel Farage. We're hearing reports like this coming in from around the Western world, that people who took positions on things that were unpopular with the narrative around COVID, vaccines, all sorts of things, they're having the exact same problem. Nigel Farage is the most prominent example of this, and the documents that came out from this bank are absolutely incredible. Coots is a very prestigious bank. I believe they bank to the royal family, among many others, and yet they decided, his opinions on Brexit weren't good. He's controversial. That's always the line. So, they said, well, as soon as he gets his mortgage paid off, let's boot him completely from the bank. Now, this should be treated. It's taken a couple of scalps, but I think the Coots banking charter should be revoked, because there also needs to be, I think, in Britain, the United States, Australia, legislation and laws saying that you have a right to bank and that it cannot be interfered with by some woke mid-level executive who has decided that they don't like, what you've got to say.
Well, this is a problem, I think, that could come to Australia very readily. We're looking right now that all the four major banks are taking a position on the voice. They're actively pushing the yes vote. So it's only one small step to pushing a particular position, no matter how divisive it is, to then saying, well, if you're an opponent of this...
You voted no, or you're voting no, then we don't want you in our bank. You're out. You can't spend money.
And Farage shows the power of fighting back. Of course, yes. He's powerful, he's got a platform, but not only is the CEO of Coots has stepped down, but the CEO of the NatWest Group, who owns Coots, has had to step down. BBC has issued a grovelling apology for pushing this fake narrative that Coots tried to say that, we closed his accounts because he didn't have enough money to bank with us. We're a prestige bank.
And they also claimed some suspicious nonsense about Russia, because of course, Russia.
Absolute disinformation and propaganda, which the BBC fell for and had to issue a grovelling apology. So don't think this stuff can't come here. This ESG nonsense.
The woke stuff. And let's have, Rita, on that, let's have a listen to a Labor politician defending the chairwoman of Coots, of NatWest, saying, because she's a woman, she shouldn't be fired. So here you go. So hang on. What we're basically saying, we'll just have a listen first.
I don't like some of frankly, what I see as bullying attitudes towards her. She's the first female chief executive of NatWest. She took over at a time when that bank had real big problems.
So let's be clear. No accountability. If you're a Sheila in charge of a bank, you can do anything wrong.
That is so sexist.
It's unbelievable.
And she came there at a time where they were in crisis. Yeah, guess who helped them out? The taxpayer. She didn't come in there with some genius ideas that solved things. It was the taxpayer.
Yeah.
And Coots is, I think, about 40% state-owned, so it's not just a private entity.
Yeah. Now, just very quickly, we're going to a break, but if we just check our glasses, it's...
evaporation!
It's evaporation, it's boiling, global boiling, folks.